Hi everyone, so here's our common misconceptions from this week's EEDI homework, and there's 5 altogether, 2 from the compound measures, EEDI task, 1 from the quadratics, and then 2 from the Venn diagram. So let's go through those together. So for this one, snail travels 6 metres in 20 minutes, which of the following correctly calculates its average speed in metres per second. The important thing here is that it's metres per second, whereas this time is in minutes. The right answer here was this one, and the wrong answer here was C. Okay, and I'm going to go through why they are. Just for those people who want to know from the compound measures, this is question 4. Okay, so let's have a look at this. So, speed equals distance over time. So if we just did it straight with this, speed equals 6 over 20, 6 divided by 20. If I was doing it, that would be metres, and this would be minutes. Okay, so 6. So this again was a common wrong answer. It wasn't the most common wrong answer, but this was a common one as well, that people just did the 6 divided by 20 for distance over time. Okay, this is per minute, but I want it per second. Okay, so this is per minute, I want it per second. So what's going to happen here, you know, if we look at this answer, 6 divided by 20, it's going to go 3/10 of a metre in a minute. So to decide what's going to do in 1 second, we're going to have to divide by 60 here. So that's where the divide by 60 comes in. Okay, and that's going to give me an answer. If I divide that by 60, that's going to give me an answer 1 over 200, and that is then in metres per second. Okay, so looking at this 1 over 200, so I've got to do divide by 20, 6 divided by 20, and then divide by 60, which is this. Another way of thinking about it, and probably the way I would have done this question, is to say 20 minutes and change that first. So 20 minutes is 20 times 60 seconds, because there's 60 seconds in a minute. So that's 1,200 seconds. So then my speed is going to be distance, which is 6 metres, over 1,200 seconds. And if I do that, I'm definitely going to get, whoops, let me just check, sorry, it should be 6, make sure I type that in right. 6 divided by 1,200 is definitely 1 over 200, so that's definitely right. But the most common wrong answer here is where people have just got the conversion into seconds wrong. Okay, that's our first one. So our second question, which is still on the compound measures task, this second question is about density. So let's have a look at this. And what we need to know about density is that density is equal to mass over volume. And if you don't know that, you need to learn that, please. So density equals mass over volume. So let's have a look at this question. If we've got density equals mass over volume, then here the density is 500 kilograms per centimetre cubed. My mass, I don't know, that's what I'm trying to find out. So I'm going to leave that as M. And my volume is 20 centimetres cubed. So again, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to find mass. I'm going to multiply up by my 20. So my mass, if I go up here so everyone can see, I'm going to do 500 times by the 20 to get rid of that in the denominator. So that's going to give me this. And the most common wrong answer, sorry, I should have said here, the most common wrong answer here is actually this one. So the most common wrong answer was where people just did that and said, well, there's my volume, there's my mass, sorry, done, but didn't realise that this was kilograms, whereas this is going to be grams, because if we look in the question, this is grams. So this answer would be in grams. Okay, but I don't want grams, I want kilograms. So what am I going to do there? Well, if I know my mass in grams, so if I work this out, sorry, I'm not going to do that, it's easy enough. So 10,000 there, grams is my mass. Well, to change grams to kilograms, we've got 10,000 grams. I need to divide now by 1,000 to give me my answer in kilograms. Okay, so that means that this is my correct answer. And again here, this was the most common wrong answer in this one. This one was quite commonly wrong given answer as well. Okay, so it's just about reading the questions actually in both of these two. Minutes, we need to change to seconds in the first one. Grams, we need to change to kilograms in the second one. And just for those people that want to know, this was the compound measures question 5. Okay. Next one then, let's move on. My next one was the quadratic equations one. And I think the people that got this one wrong, the most common wrong answer here, just didn't really look at the question properly, didn't really read this question right. So the right answer here is A, and the most common wrong answer is B. Okay. And, you know, both of these are actually pretty good, and probably in an exam, if you'd written down your work and you would have got some method here. But if we look at this, looking at the area, okay, we want to know the area altogether. The area of this one, this little bit, if I split it up into compound shapes, that's definitely going to be 2x. I'm just going to change that back to black so you can see that. So that's definitely going to be 2 times x. This one is 4, and then this is x, so this one's 4x. And then this one is 3, and 2x there. Sorry, I've just seen this is 2x and x, so that should be 2x squared there. X times x is x squared. So 2x times x is 2x squared. 4 times x is 4x. 3 times 2x is 6x. So my total area here is 2x squared plus 4x plus 6x. So that's 2x squared plus 10x. And it tells me in the question that the area is 82. So 2x squared plus 10x is equal to 82. And that gets me that first answer A. This most common wrong answer, where this 12 has come in, and I can see where that's come in because people have then done 4 times 3, you know, multiplied all of these together. So 4 times 3, that would have given us this. So 4 there, 3 there, that's the 12, that's where that's come from. But that clearly is the cut out piece on this shape. That isn't in the compound shape. That would be if it was a full rectangle. So there's our answer to that one. Great. That was question 7 from the quadratics task. Okay. Venn diagrams. So this is question 3 from the Venn diagram task. Okay, and here C was the most common wrong answer and D was the correct answer. And you can see, you know, there's some similarities here, isn't there? But it's all about knowing how to do a Venn diagram and what these kind of both bits and all mean. So let's have a look at this. Let's draw this Venn diagram from scratch and then we can see which one it matches up to. So 150 altogether. So altogether, all of this, when I've finished, has got to add up to 150. And we've got an iPad here and an iPhone here. Okay. It then says 42 owned an iPad. Now that's the whole of iPad circle. So the whole of iPad circle must be 42. Okay. So when we do this whole circle must add up to 42. So that's where the most common wrong answer is here, is that people have said, oh, iPad's 42, so that goes in there. This whole thing must add up to 42, and here it's 58, so that's definitely wrong here, okay? But then what it tells us is 67 owned either an iPad or an iPhone. That's all of this together, so all of this together must be 87. So when I add all those bits up together, that must be 87. So it includes the middle bit. And then 16 owned both. So there's the bit that I can start with. 16 owned both. So 16 goes in the middle. And then once 16's in the middle, I can start moving on from this. So 16 in the middle, 42 here for the whole circle. So 42 minus 16 is 26. So that's where that comes from. And then these two together give me 42. And I've got to have 87 over both of these circles together. So this is 42, 87. That's going to give me 45 for that part. And then all together, we've got 150. So everything's got to add up to 150. So then 26 and 16 and 45, take all of that away from 150 and you should be left with 63. So that's what's happened there. And I can see where this has come from because people have basically put the 16 in the middle, which would have got you a method mark if this was an exam question, but then hadn't realised that the 42 was the whole of iPad circle. Okay, that's question 3. Sorry, that's question 4. Last one then, question 5 on this is from Venn diagrams again. This is question 11, so this is the last one that we'll need to do. And in question 11, the really important word here is just this little word given. Okay, so we'll have a look at that together now. The correct answer here was C. The most common wrong answer is A. Okay. A student chosen at random, a student is chosen at random. So from all of these people here, 200 altogether, we're choosing someone at random, fair enough. Given that this student studies graphics, what's the probability they also study art? So graphics is we're given that happens. So given that it's graphics, and what that means when you do this, you do what's called restricting the sample space. So you're only looking now in that circle because we've been given that happens. So these things definitely don't happen. So none of that's relevant now because we're told that we're only looking in the graphics pot of people. Okay, So we're given that this has happened. This has definitely happened. So these things are out of it. They're impossible. What's the probability they also study art? So here's my art part. So the probability that I study art, given that I study graphics, or this person studies graphics, is definitely 53. So that's where the 53 comes from in both of these. Okay, but I'm only looking in graphics now. So only in graphics, I've got 33, 42, 11 and 31, and that comes to 117. So that's where this answer comes from. Now I can see where this has come from. You probably can as well. The 53 is correct. And again, in an exam, that had got us a method mark. But then we've done this over 200. So this given bit, it's as if it didn't say that. Okay, so that's the important part of this question. Given graphics means I restrict my sample space. So then I'm just looking at 117 people to choose from rather than the full 200. Okay. What I'd like you to do with those misconceptions then is make sure that you've got, even if you got them right, please, then each of these should go into our notes as an example of those 3 topics. So compound measures, 2 questions, a quadratic equations, 1 with a diagram, and 2 Venn diagrams.